I finished life's chores assigned to me, so put me on a boat out to sea. Invited to a fishing hole, where every day is a day to fish, to fill your heart with every wish. Don't worry or feel sad for me, I'm fishing with the master of the sea. We will miss each other for a while, but you will come someday and bring your smile. That won't be long, you will see, till we're together, you and me. To all of those that think of me, be happy as I go out to sea. If others wonder why I'm missing, just tell them I've gone fishing. Today is about Richard John Johnson. And yes, we begin our time together in a very lighthearted way. For this is what he wanted, for family and friends to come as one, honoring his life, but most of all, having a good time, laughs, smiles on our faces, and sharing those stories and those memories. Welcome everyone fishing, but he was also a husband, a father, a brother, an uncle, a brother-in-law, and can't forget, a friend to me. On behalf of Linda and Julie and the rest of the family, they thank you for taking time out of your busy day with them as they remember Rich. Your presence, your kind words, and your love, and your support over the last months are now immeasurable to the entire family. As we begin our time together, Rich wants us to listen to one of his favorite hymns, In the Garden.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Evan. I'm Texie's nephew, and I was lucky enough, like him, to marry into the Lord's. Linda wanted me to pick out some scripture for today, and I decided to pick two that I think are very fitting in times like this. The first comes to us from the Gospel of John, chapter 14, verses 25 through 27. It's words that Jesus spoke to his disciples about his own passing. He says, I have said these things to you while I am still with you. But the Advocate, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, will teach you everything and remind you of all that I have said to you. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not let them be afraid. The next reading is from Psalm 139, verses 1 through 18, and it is to me a comforting reflection on the nature of God and God's relationship with us. King David here writes, O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You discern my thoughts from far away. You search out my path and my lying down and are acquainted with all my ways. Even before a word is on my tongue, O Lord, you know it completely. You hem me in, behind and before, and lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is so high that I cannot attain it. Where can I go from your spirit? Or where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and settle at the farthest limits of the sea, even there your hand shall guide me, and your right hand shall hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, and night wraps itself around me, even the darkness is not dark to you. The night is as bright as the day. For it was you who formed my inward parts, you knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works that I know very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was being made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth. Your eyes beheld my unformed substance. In your books were written all the days that were formed for me, but none of them exist. How weighty to me are your thoughts, O God, how vast is the sum. I try to count them, they are more than the sand. I come to the end, I am still with you. The word of the Lord.
Okay, so my daughter asked me last night if this made me nervous, and I said no. I'm certain that I would. So Linda. I'm honored to stand here and represent my family, Connor Rich. The family includes some great women. I'm Fluff. My sisters are Bitch, Kay, and Pout. Two of Texie's nieces are Fart Blossom and Fart Fluff. My name is actually Anna, and Rich is my brother-in-law. He coined all of our nicknames along the way, and they were small. I do not remember a time after first meeting that Rich ever called me Anna. Simply fun. In his most recent hospital stay, when the health search team would come in and say, "Who do you have here with you today?" referencing Linda, he would just say, "Oh." Some of those nurses got I did learn though from Texie's brother Larry last night that his mom's family, the Evicks, were all nicknamers. So Texie carried that through very well. Now the tables were turned as well. When we first met Rich, it was a bit confusing because I have a brother Rich, I have a dad Rich, and then we have another Rich. So we go back. But Rich Johnson always showed up in blue jeans, a shirt with snaps rather than buttons, a belt buckle, oftentimes boots. And so we were like, okay, that's Tex. And then quickly he endearingly became Texie. So my children are really quite old. I think before they realized he actually had a name. And because no one laughed harder at Fart Joke, which if you watch the video, you will laugh too, he also quickly became Old Fart. So as I continue my story today, he will be referenced as either Tex or Texie, just so you don't get lost in the words. So Texie was born in Lakeland to Harriet and Glenn Johnson and grew up in the family farm. He was the youngest of 4 children, 2 sisters, Eunice and Irene, and 1 brother, Larry. He graduated from Lakeland High School in 1964. He left the farm and moved to the city, to Minneapolis, to Dunwoody Institute. He married and had 2 children, Julie and Jeff. Julie lives in South Carolina, and Linda reached out to her just last Saturday to let her know that her dad had enrolled in hospice. Julie immediately started making plans for her dog, and then to get in the car and drive. Sadly, Linda had to tell her that Tex had passed, and so those plans had to change. And Julie's words were to Linda, "I'm coming anyway to support you," and you did your dad proud for that, and we're very glad that you did. Even though Tex took himself off the farm and into the city, the farm was always his love. His sister-in-law Alice told us a couple of stories. After Tex moved to the cities, he would go back to the Ravine farm in Clear Lake, South Dakota. It's Julie's grandparents' place, to help out. On one particular visit, Tex was driving the combine. Okay, city boy driving the combine, and he tipped it over. So then he had to walk back up to the farmhouse and try to gather family who were all hard working and they're all given jobs and pull them from their jobs to tip it right back up, which they did, and then he just got back in and kept full. Another time while he was at the farm, he was hunting with Alice and Grandma Fred. They saw a deer. Alice reports that that deer was at least a half mile away, and they all tried to tell Tex that that shot was not making. But that was not a thing, and he shot anyway and hit the deer. Got the deer, and surprisingly, Tex told that story to Fred every time he did it. On August 16, 1971, Tex started his career at Clark-Cliff, Minnesota as an industrial mechanic, where he would stay for his entire career, retiring in July of 2010 after nearly 4 years. Tex spent the next few years retired, just kind of hovering around between the lake and home, kind of waiting for Linda to retire in 2016. Outside of work, one of Tex's greatest joys, and also his tremendous sense of pride, as you will see, was his involvement as a role in the Osmond Shrine. He was an active member for 52 years. He served in 2 units in the Shrine of Provost and the Legion of Honor. Legion of Honor is a group that does kind of the fancy stuff at different functions, flags and things. The Provost unit were actually in the early days sworn in as Reserve Ramsey County Deputy Sheriffs, because their job was to act as the police at all shrine events to make sure things went well. They would direct traffic, do crowd control, collect money, deposit money, those kinds of things. Not exactly sure what the crime rate was at shrine events, but Tex was. He served in leadership as captain of the Provost, commander of the Legion of Honor, parade marshal. He sat on the board of trustees for the Osmond Temple, and he was potentate's aide for several potentates. Now, the potentates, for those that don't know, is the big head marshal. Sorry, Shrine, because that's not that was right. Sure. I'm just on those jackets. So, but the potentate's aid job was really to just kind of do whatever the potentate needed at all these different functions. Well, Tex and his friend Jerry were really good at being potentate's aid, and one of the main jobs, from what I understand, was the R&R room. And R&R, I'm assuming, stands for rest and relaxation, and it also might mean. And so, but Tex and his friend Jerry did that so well. And the potentate's aid job is an appointed position, like the potentate chooses you. And Tex then got chosen by many people. He loved his friend Jerry. They were two pieces of that. Tex would also ride his Harley in the parades. You saw a picture of him marching in the parade. He worked at the circus every year. I'm not really sure how much he loved the circus, but he did like the R&R room at the circus. And after bringing 4 kids to the circus many, many years, his mom would have liked it in that R&R. Tex also traveled to the Midwest Shrine Association convention every year in August for years and years and years. But it was at one of those conventions when his life would change forever. They were going to Fargo. His unit, the provost guys, were sitting in the front of the bus. The shrine chanters, singers, were in the back of the bus. My sister Linda was the pianist for the chanter group. On this particular convention, as the story goes, the budget did not allow for spouses to be on this particular trip, so Linda was the only woman on the bus. One of the chanters, Tex was at the front of the bus, and one of the chanters said to Linda, "Who's that?" And Linda said, "I don't know, but I'll find it." And if you know my sister at all, she marched to that front of the bus, and she was gonna find out who that guy was. So she went up and said, "Who are you?" And I told her, and then she just sat down and talked to him all the way to Fargo. And notice I said talked to him. He had no words, she had all. And then they went, the convention went on for, I don't know how long these conventions were, 3 days. And then now they're on the bus to go back home. And Linda was sitting in the front of the bus this time. And Tex got on, and he said, and she talked to him all the way back to me. Not a lot of words. But then he asked for her number. And the next Tuesday, he called her to ask for help. That date was August 16th, 1984. And he started his job at Clark-Cliff on August 16th, 1971. So good date for Tex. that was a lucky day for him. If you asked him, he would say that he still has not gotten a lot of words in, except yes, dear. They married in 1992 in Hawaii and have been happily married ever since. During their married life, Tex did not allow Linda to fix chicken. He said, my mom would cook those old hens every possible way, including canning them. So when Kentucky Fried Chicken came on the scene, every 3 years, he would get one order of extra crispy chicken, and besides that, there was no chicken in his life. Ironically, Tex's last full meal was mashed potatoes and gravy and chicken, brought over by their sweet neighbors, Jesse and Crystal. And that was what he had for his dinner. Tex loved Jesse and Crystal so much. Jesse and Crystal also keep hens in their backyard. And those hens happily leap over the fence into Tex's backyard because I think they know they're safe. So over the years, Linda and Tex attended many shrine functions, including the balls, fancy balls. Linda worked hard at dressing her best to make him proud of her being his wife, the lady at all these functions. Being a man of few words, he rarely gave a compliment, but he didn't like what she was wearing. He simply said, is that what you're wearing? That was her cue. Tex loved to fish. His family farm was on a lake, so he grew up fishing there. He and Linda have a seasonal space at a campground with a lake. I remember one year her surprising him with a new fishing boat for his birthday, as is the Larson sisters' way. We all met down the street, got in the boat on the trail with and traded into the driveway to present Tex with this. And this was his first fishing boat to have over. For all of this. And Linda tells the story that he did not sleep that night for excitement about this fishing. It was his Tex also organized many salmon fishing trips to Elmore, Wisconsin, with Shriners and friends. His motto was, a bad day fishing means a good day of work, and so in retirement, Linda and Tex spent a lot of time at their lake place enjoying fishing, golf, and putzing. Our family also enjoyed the place. There was mini golf, swimming pool, cabin for the kids, but the highlight was Uncle Tex's really fancy golf cart. Surprisingly, it was red. The kids just kind of counted the days until they moved from passenger to driver, which was always fun. And the funniest thing about that is none of us were allowed to ever drive that golf cart. If Meg and I wanted to go to the camp store, he's like, get him, I'll drive you. But the kids, they drive him. For a couple of years on Mondays, Texas would meet his touristy friends, Mark and Ann, for breakfast at McDonald's. During COVID, they would go through the drive-thru, take out their camping chairs, sit in the parking lot, and eat their breakfast. So it was not just a Monday. Tex had a great sense of humor, although he was not a man of many words. The rest of the family has a lot of words. Took it light that choice, but he would get in his zingers. We would all be talking and laughing, everybody might be talking at once, not even really remembering that, any of it was really, but Tex really. And then he would get quiet for one little second, and in would come the singer, and we would all crack up. Halloween is a huge affair for our family. My sister and brother-in-law make it fun for everybody, and one year they put a haunted house in the garage. And the trick-or-treaters had to come through this haunted house to get to the king. So my kids volunteered to be the testers. They went through the haunted house to test it out. Well, Tex was hiding, and on the way by, grabbed, I think, Maggie's leg, and the scream erupted. The kids came running, all hell broke loose, and all we were in the garage after that. Again, no words. Tex was a family man. He was always present. Our family likes to gather, and it doesn't take much, but we gather, and Tex was always there. I'm a mom to 4 of his nieces and nephews, and they are involved in a lot of things. Silly plays at church, musical, football games, and he was there. Wednesday night at the Legion with Sue McGee, splitting wood at Mega Steve's, he was there. When my mom was sick in the hospital all those years ago, she'd call me in California and say she woke up in the morning in her hospital bed and there was text sitting there reading the paper, waiting for her to wake up. Always. For years, text and Sue Skyped nearly every day. Not sure what words he had then, but they texted every day. And she is proud to say that he is the only person other than her husband that has seen her bedhead. Tex was interested. He always asked me about my kids, my work. He would tell me something he saw on the news that he thought I might be interested in. The next time we saw him, he would bring up what we talked about last time. He was very interested. Just this last Christmas, my daughter, Ford Blossom, keeping track of my names, works as an activities director in a senior living facility out of state. And she was home and she was telling Texie that she was planning a New Year's Eve party for her oldies. And she wanted to do like a New York style Times Square ball drop. But it needed to be at like 8 o'clock because then they were And so they talked and Texie gave her the whole thing. The silver balloon, the fish and wire, the fish and wings, all the things on how to make this ball drop. And the ball dropped at New Year's Eve at Meg's place in Boston. One of the great benefits of having 3 sisters-in-law, and Texie might say there's really only one benefit of having 3 sisters-in-law, is that there were 3 brothers-in-law that came with that. Just let it be noted that none of those men were called Fluff. Kevin and Pete Steve. None of those names apply to men. I think that all 3 of them, though, would agree that they all hoped Tex got them made for Christmas. His gifts were thoughtful, sometimes a little off the wall. His homemade fire starters were something that were coveted and likely will be stolen and because he was good at that. One of his other gifts, and I brought it up, was an extending handshake ice water. Screen test. My husband got down. Steve got a chainsaw on pole, so you don't have to climb a ladder and you just chop down your tree that way. So brilliant stuff, useful stuff, thoughtful stuff. And then us girls sometimes Tex had our names for Christmas. And then you get stuff like this. This is a woman's urinal. To use in the tent if you have to go high. So, but no, it's never been open. Still in the bag, it's gonna stay, I'm pretty sure it's in the bag. It's gonna stay in the bag. I am gonna add one note in here that I wish that I had spoken to all of you before I wrote this, because there are so many stories. And Pat, wave your hand. If you want to hear, wave your hand. If you want to hear the best ever, worst golf day story in your life, which includes a stuck golf cart, a rammed golf cart, a log, a dog, and a missing golf ball. If you want to need to talk. The last couple of years, we have gathered up in Texas after the holidays to play a silly dice game called That Tex did not really love playing that game, said he never won. Last year on January 28th, he won the big pot. We all celebrated. This year, our Left Right Center Day was going to be on January 27th. Tex had been in the hospital for many days. Linda wisely decided we would postpone game night until Tex was feeling better. And we all agreed, but we all did not agree on not gathering. So we gathered and we ended up showing up in mass. So there were 12 of us that day for most of the day in that house. That was the morning that the hospice folks had come and got us all enrolled and ready to go. And as I oftentimes tell my kids, that sometimes life takes an unexpected turn. And in those times, God's really a funny guy. And on that day, he was a really funny guy because we were all there. And that morning, Tex was in his chair and up and walking to the bathroom and talking to the kids and all the things. And then very early that night. Then I went to sleep. But we were there, and it was good. Texie's favorite color is red. He loved bacon and eggs and meat and potatoes. Peach was his favorite ice cream. Fleet Farm was his favorite store. He would choose peach pie or peanut custard parfait for dessert. Although not a bacon drinker, he did love his crown. He loyally cheered for the Vikings and the Twins. He was the author of the family favorite sloppy Joe recipe. He listened to Willie Nelson and the Statler brothers. He slaved over jigsaw puzzles. He rode his big, giant riding lawnmower on his little tiny lawn. He was a fan of both Dale Sr. and the King Richard Petty. He collected many things, including coins and belt buckles. He pretended to be a tough guy, but Linda recently found a stack of every card she ever gave him. Hide away. He had a big laugh and an even bigger smile. He was a friend, a son, a brother, a dad, an uncle, a husband. He was technically my brother-in-law, but the in-law part went away very quickly. He's my brother. Both in the ways he showed me care, I always made interested. I always wanted to know about my children. By telling really bad jokes, by teasing us, and most importantly, by always loving my sister. Always. I'm incredibly grateful for that bus ride in 1984. And we'll miss it. Big wall. Right there, that was Texie. Okay.
Well done. Well done. We can all be thankful for the impact Rich has left on our lives and our life on his. Let us give thanks as we listen to Reba sing the Lord's Prayer. With the final words, Rich's family wants to invite everyone upstairs immediately following to share the meal. Linda and the immediate family will remain here in the chapel to have the final moment with Rich. So in just a bit, I'll ask everybody to rise. Guests will begin just to process on out and then upstairs. Rich has affected everyone here in a different way, and now we are left with his memories to carry us forward. Let us go in comfort and peace of each other's friendships, knowing that beyond absence, there is presence. That beyond the aching, there is healing. That beyond the silence, there are spoken words. That beyond the spoken words, there is understanding. And that through all understanding, there is love. God grant that I may live to fish for another shining day. But when my final cast is made, I then humbly pray. When nestled in your net, as I lay peacefully sleep, you'll smile at me, judge, that I'm good enough.
Mm-hmm.